and so I would go. So I would go and just hang out and got exposed to it that way. And then when he passed when I was 15 years old in '89, I thought maybe it would be a cool thing to start being a actor. So I thought about pursuing acting because of Michael J. Fox. And I kind of ceased doing that, and I end up going into doing my own TV show when I was in 1995. So that's how I started from my father. And exposed. Yeah, that's how.
Nice. So when we think about the Wynn network, right? As I was kind of diving in on it and just looking it up and doing things about it, and now it's on my TV. I have it on mine. It's so stark in comparison to what most would consider like a Netflix, right? Just with a different face, you know what I mean? But literally doing a lot of the same things. Was that your intention? How did that come about? And what was your objective behind starting the network?
Well, it was not my objective to start a network. I mean, I always was on television, but it wasn't until like maybe 5 years ago, because we made our 5th year anniversary this month. I was driving, and it's like, the Spirit impressed on me. He said, "I've given you media, publishing, and music, and you've done nothing with it." I would well up with tears and cry, profusely about it. And then the next day, this gentleman introduced me to digital platforms. Now, I was doing TV on a digital platform, but this gentleman said, "Hey, you can have your own network, and I can show you and help you." And so he showed me the basics, and then me and my family, my daughter Farrah and my daughter Angel and my son William J. Wynn, and my other kids. I got 8 kids. So we are pursuing this to make it work and make it pliable and viable to our customer of inspiration and entertainment. So with many evolves to make it what it is today, and we're still upgrading and still going further. So but the initial act was, I was looking at young folks that get exploited many times in Hollywood and in the media, and they take their innocence and exploit them for good. And people that have grown up in a Christian home or what have you lose their whole Christian value sometimes based on trying to get famous and trying to get into this space. So we try to use this space for inspiration, for entertainment. It has some language in it, but more inspirational entertainment, not just starchy religious content that is kind of cut and dry, but more that storyline that has entertainment and then also, like, from 12 to 6 in the morning, we have prayer, we have preaching, we have music, things that soothe you late at night. Because I remember when I busted my femur, and when I was going through surgery, I needed something to soothe and calm my mind. And I'm looking on the Word Network, and it kind of soothed me. So I thought about those things to help inspire people some type of way, whether entertainment, whether religiously, whether politically, whether informationally. We try to do those things and fuse them together.
Yeah, and it's great. I love that you mentioned like the collective of entertainment and inspiration, because in reality, simultaneously, they're all one, right? Inspiration doesn't mean it has to be boring. And I think, like you were saying, a lot of young people kind of think of, church and God and Christianity and those things in that sphere, right? Like, oh man, they're talking about God, they're talking about Jesus, I don't want to hear it. When in reality, that's what we cultivate from. That's who we are. And learning about these things and putting the things in the forefront, just in that space, to give people an opportunity to be able to say, oh, well, there are other avenues to coming to Jesus. There are other avenues to learning about our faith. There are other ways besides just that one way where our parents are brought up or their parents are brought up. There are other ways to kind of bring people to Jesus. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
So when you speak about this kind of like all of the things you've done, being an author, being a producer, being a writer, all these things you're a man of many talents. How do you juggle it all? Because I was reading one thing and I was ready to take a nap. I was tired. Like, I felt like, oh man, Dr. Wynn does a lot. Like, I needed a break for you. So, Doc, how does one juggle all of this and still find time for Dr. John?
I think what everybody knows that has multiple things going on. You can't do anything without a good team. You got to have a decent team that believes in what you're doing. And that my team happened to be my family, my wife, Edith, she's there with me. What I lack, she strengthens. What we both lack, our children pick it up. And we found our kids' own inspiration and fears of influence of things they can do. So my Angel, she edits my movies. She doesn't edit, she colors, she shoots, she films. My son William, he edits, he films, he shoots. My daughter Essence, she helps me with publishing and dives in. My son Luke has a degree in English. He helps with my music company. He helps with my publishing company and movies. He helped write my scripts with me.
Nice.
And I got my daughter Angel. My daughter what's one of these kids? Charnay, she helps me, with the callbacks and helped with the other businesses that my wife was helping working with. And then my son Alex, he helps with the IT, and Josiah helps with the business and the finance and all types of things. So who am I forgetting? Yeah, I covered them all.
So if he forgot, don't charge it to his heart. Don't charge it.
Yeah, Farrah helps with my PR. She helps with my marketing. She helps with our narratives, and we all great. And what I lack, I have others, and then I got other guys and other team players. Lenny, my guy Lenny out of Hollywood, that helped with our shooting and our camera work when we need to go big for our movies.
Yeah,
it's a collaboration of things, and that I was fortunate to do. I wrote my books years ago. I wrote my CDs years ago. I've been in music now. I come from music.
Yes.
So sisters sing. In fact, my sister Juanita, she does a lot with. She helped write a lot of stuff from Mary, from Beyonce, from what's the girl's name? Excuse me, Angie Stone to Fred, the Wynn sisters. I got 8 sisters. They sing. They're in music. So that's our foundation is music.
Yeah.
So with TV and movie, it's a collaboration of all of it. So you know how to write, if you know how to sing, if you know how to create. Movies is a plethora of all of it.
Right.
And that's what I kind of like. It's a multitask business. It's multi-production. It's a lot of moving parts. And so that's what we're fortunate to have.
Something, you said something, and it kept playing in my head. And you were talking about just your team in itself. And your team is made up of your family, right? And a lot of times we find ourselves in situations where the family aspect of things are lost when it comes to wanting to create your business. You may not have family and friends to support your business, and you got to go out into other spaces to be able to gather what you need. So for you, why was it so important to have your family involved in this entirety of it all? And what joy do you get just bringing everybody together to do something?
It didn't start like that. When I wrote my first script when in 2010, and Angel was like 10 years old or something like that. She was like 10 years. So what happened is I kept paying for people to do stuff that they didn't fulfill. And my kids or my children saw that they could do things and learned, and then I put them in different places or connected them with different people to teach them a skill set. Because they were interested in it. Now, I didn't force them. If they were interested in it, then I put them with a skill set.
Right.
So it was something natural that happened and evolved in time. It wasn't something I tried to do. I was working with a lot of different people in different things that I wanted them to help because they did this, and then you get took. And then so you find out, you start depending on your family and your children. And of course, my wife, she loves. She supports me and my children in what we could do. So it's still it's something that evolved over time.
Yeah. But I can only imagine just being able to sit back and look and say to yourself, look at the full circle, right? Look at what happened, what God gave us, right? That foundation, that's beautiful. That is so beautiful. I wish that a lot more people would be able to have that influx of family over time to be able to come in and do those things. You know what I mean?
I think what happens many times, people don't value their family because we're listening to other people and outsiders talk about that we're supposed to just, well, I don't know, whatever you want to do, it's just your choice. That's not what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
We as family members, we're supposed to find the gifts and the talents that's in our children, cultivate them. And if we are in entrepreneur, give them an opportunity to work.
Right.
And I think what happens a lot of times, powers that be don't want you to use your family because they want to exploit them.
Come on.
They want to
that part.
And then when they take over your children, then your children don't want anything to do with you.
And that is so true. Like, I love that you said the powers that be. We're happy. That's a whole different conversation. But you said something early on, and you said, you know, God said to you, I'm giving you all these gifts, and you're not doing nothing with them. Whew, that is powerful, right? And it spoke to my heart because I remember being in that position where, like, God was saying some of the same things to me, like, you've been through some things, but I've given you this. I've given you the gift. Right? Either you're going to use it, or I'm going to give it to somebody who will. You know what I mean? So for you, in that space where you were just kind of lost, not really sure what you're going to do or where you're going to go, that aha moment for you where you were like, okay, I got to get it together, and I got to do this. This is how we're going to bring people closer to the kingdom. What was that moment for you?
Well, you got to understand, I've been pastoring for over almost 30 years. And so I'm a bishop of the church, the Lord's church, as well as a pastor. And I've been a pastor since 25 years old. So when you're doing church and church only focuses on church itself, you don't think that you're supposed to focus on anything else but church.
But church, right.
And then you don't realize that there is a transference of connection that God wants to get people into a different mindset through media, through radio, through sound. And guess what happens? God tells me this 5 years ago, then the pandemic happened.
Oof. So
then pastors needed to know, how do we do this? So we were instrumental in using the network to help the Church of God in Christ for one, their leadership conference.
Right.
So we were able to help different pastors that didn't know how to get online, didn't know how to stream.
Yeah.
So all that it was, yes, we're still doing church, but we're doing church from a different angle.
Right.
We're still doing inspiration, but from a different angle. Because I like all kinds of movies. I mean, I like Die Hard, you know, I like Top Gun. So I'm not just into just a mindset, but I'm into learning about ideas, learning about different things. So that's I was in ministry for years. I'm still in ministry, but my point is I use my platform that God gave me to speak to people that might need to hear it from a different angle.
Right.
Not be in your face, but hear.
Yeah. Because I feel like I was saying earlier, a lot of times most people relationship with God is cultivated differently, right? Some of us find it in the chapel, that we find it in a church home. But like you said, some of us find it in music. We find it on TV. We find it at the store. Like it's different ways that people are now finding and cultivating a relationship, and all are acceptable. There is no rule book to where you need to find that relationship at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point, because even in the scripture, Paul was on his way to kill Christians.
Yes.
And then he saw a great light, knocked him off his horse, and he said, why are you persecuting me? But he found Christ. And then you find so many things that we do. Like, for instance, the reason why I'm going back to how movies speak to me. When my father died at 15, I didn't know why Back to the Future was my favorite movie.
Right.
And Back to the Future came out the same day my dad passed. And Back to the Future helped me cope with my father's death. I didn't know that until 5 years ago.
Wow.
And that was years and years ago. So sometimes you know that things are speaking to you and helping you and guiding you and supporting you.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the church at that particular simple film.
Yeah.
So that was something that for me was a call. So what I do is not just something I do, but it's a call that I'm called to.
Yeah.
To manage it, make sure I take care of it. And the media is one of the most powerful entities we have in the face of this planet. Because it connects us to people that we may never speak or know. I don't know you. This is the first time we've talked.
Yes.
And we're connected through media to talk to your group, my group, everybody's group.
So true.
information. That's how powerful this entity is. And I don't think a lot of young people understand their power, their voice. That just saying anything, doing anything, you don't know you have a slew of people following you. And what happens, you don't realize the power that you possess until you get 50 or 60 and you see the leftovers that you didn't take care of. Travesty that you left behind you because you broke and built a bunch of broken people and you never healed them. But you told them to stay broken. Now you healed, you're well, but your message was broken. And people broken grabbed onto that thinking that was their hope and they stayed broken. So, and when you get kids and when you get children, you see things from a whole different angle.
Yeah, that's so true.
That's what's so powerful with this media, that it's a responsibility. And you have to make sure you're taking care of it to help people.
Right. That is so true. And speaking about helping people, let's talk about this movie. Because first of all, I saw the trailer and automatically was like, wait, how could I have missed this? How could I have not seen this? So you are on tour right now, promoting this film, 1 hour. So for those of you who are under a rock pool watching right now, who have not seen this, it basically speaks about it's based on true events, right? Of a man whose dad passes and he wants to go back in the past to get this information about the business. But we all know tapping into the past is not always easy. It hurts. It can be, it being tampered with can be a lot. So talk about the inspiration behind 1 hour and what is the overall message without giving so many things away.
2019, I had a dream because I've been overwhelmed with a lot of things in business from church to from the Wynn network to my other businesses that I have. And I just went to sleep and I wish I could talk to my father about certain things. And it's like an angel came to me in my dreams and said, you have 1 hour to talk to your father and ask him 3 questions, but you can't tell him he only has an hour to live. And so I woke up crying. I guess I'm a big crybaby, but I woke up crying and wrote that down. And so, and this is during the movie Mirror Mirror, John Wynn's Mirror Mirror that we I think we just was getting ready to release. And then I told my son who writes for me, I said, look, man, here's the idea, here's the concept, here's what I want to do. Let's play with this idea. And so last year he went to writing with me and Kyle, and we started putting an idea together. And then I put real events, things that my mother had just said to me last year, we put in there, and things that happened. I talked to my sister because she was there when my father was saying certain things. So, but what we wanted to do, we wanted to put in the elements of the importance of moving forward and not staying in the back. And so people have lost so many people in the last 2 years with COVID.
Yes.
So you get trapped within a lifetime of grief or a lifetime of success and not move forward. Right. You have to know how to be successful at that moment and move on to the next thing. And many people can't move forward and haven't moved forward and still dwelling on something that someone said, something someone did, something that transpired in your life that broke you and hurt you or frustrated your purpose, and you stop forward. So this movie's about, hey man, get the information you can and keep moving. Don't stop. Keep moving. That's a small piece of it.
You mentioned something, and it's so real. And I think a lot, even for myself personally, right? COVID was a lot, still is. And you said something about people being stuck, right? There was a whole life that many of us had prior to COVID. And then most of us had to pivot, or you were left stuck in that moment in time. And many people are still there, right? Because the process hasn't been easy. Many people have lost their jobs, their mothers, their fathers, their sisters, their brothers, and the life that they once knew is no longer. So what message do you give to people, or do you say even in your community, about trying to find something, a piece of something to get them forward into 2022 and onward, when all they've known for these last 2 years have been hurt and pain and anguish,
Well, I think you have to ask yourself questions. You have to go and to do some deep actualization within yourself. Do I want to stay here, or what do I need to do? Do I need to train? Do I need to get a new career? what's out there, what's my options. You have to
Yeah.
start yourself and really diving into your truth. What is your truth? Who are you when
Yeah.
things don't work right? Okay, you know, so many times, you know, when you in business and being an entrepreneur, you lose, you fail, you lose, you fail, you win some, you lose some. So for us, it was a natural process of saying, okay, well, what do we need to readjust? So you just readjust, you reset, and you find out because after what happened, but I tell you, me and my wife, we had a nonprofit daycare that we had in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, you know, me being black, I never been in no recession.
Right.
It was. So then when you start making money, you find out real quick what a recession is.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized at that particular time, I realized historically and culturally in America, there's always a recession. There's always there's always a loss. Always, every 10 years, 15, it's coming. I don't care what you say, it's coming.
Right.
So the thing that you have to do in the times that are plentiful, you prepare. You save. You go into the Joseph mindset, to
Right.
where gave him a vision to where it's going to be 7 years of plenteous and 7 years of famine.
Right.
So that's kind of a thing you have to do. Okay, 7 years, we want to make sure we're putting up for lean times. And even though people put up 6 months worth of savings during COVID,
Right.
they lost. But what happened, I realized something from that time to this day, I realized never get comfortable with anything you're doing. Always stay aggressive, always stay innovative, always stay with your ears to the ground. Stay connected to the opportunities, because we do not, and nor will we ever live in the time of our grandparents and our great grandparents where they had retirement, they worked on a job for 100 years and
I
they could
agree.
retire. Those days are over.
Right.
I college back in 2000 that the economist teacher said, she said, you will go, these back in the 90s, you will go through 3 to 4 different careers. It's already planned years and years ago before
Wow.
I heard that. So we need to learn how to plan 3 and 4 different opportunities. What can you do? What will last? What makes sense? What's the time? Always keep your eyes, and so many times we as a people, we just get fixated on a thing. Oh, I got this thing and that's all I'm going to do. Well, what happens if that thing stops?
Right.
And I hear it a lot. This is all I know. This is all I know. Well, all I knew was one thing, and so it didn't work. So I had to figure out a new thing.
Come on.
Evolving. We live in a world that keeps evolving. IT is taking over. You know, I was watching Star Trek, and I mean Star Wars. You ever see Star Wars?
Yes.
See the little droid RT2,
Mm-hmm.
RT2 whatever, and I forgot what the other drone is called. We have that right now, but subconsciously we don't know it is. It's called Siri. It's called Alexa. They're in our house. Alexa, give me this. Those are your R2D2s. They're in our house. So what they're doing now, technology is literally phasing out human capital, because when we speak to these things are framing what we like and then dictating to us what we want. So if you're not in technology, if you're sleeping under a rock, you're going to miss what's happening, because if you don't sing, if you don't do this, they're doing so many different things that you just have to pray, ask God for wisdom. How do I navigate? How do I maneuver? What's next? How do I do what I do? And how can I get to the next level? Or what I'm doing, how can I, and I like, even with the Wynn Network, I'm still pushing the envelope. Okay, what's next? What do we do? How can we make this better? Where's the next thing out? What can we do to make this sustainable? And so I have to always look at those things.
Yeah. No, I love that. You know, for you, what do you feel like is your driving force? You know, in this, you were saying, in the world that is ever evolving, it can get tiring, right? That's just because we're human. It can be tiring, it can be frustrating, it can be hard, it can be challenging, but we all have a driving force. There's always something in us that is keeping us going, right? Like, we're sitting here right now having this conversation. I don't know what has happened to you in last month, last week, or yesterday, but there was something in you that keeps getting up and going every single day. So for you, when it comes to filmmaking, when it comes to media in general, what is your driving force to keep you going when sometimes it feels like people are not listening, people are not paying attention, people don't understand, people are not getting the message all the time? How do you sustain and remain positive and active in that?
You know what? If you be true to yourself, you got to be true to yourself. You got down days, but you have my faith. Faith in God, of course, and I tell God, give me strength, and then the next thing that I see is when I hear a testimony that the movie did something for somebody, or it helped somebody, those type of things, and then the next thing is not having a why behind what you do.
Mm,
Most people don't have a why. You can't just have a why because about money.
come on.
Because money's only valued by whatever it's backing. And if you
Right.
don't have anything that's backing your wealth, because it's some lean days.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff, man, investing all your money as an entrepreneur, dumping it all. People, you're saying, oh my God, I got to pay these investors back and all this stuff. It gets tough. It gets
Right.
trouble. It gets overwhelming. But then you just have to have your faith and tell God, Lord, give me strength. And then what happens, things just kind of work out.
Right.
So keep going, because like I tell people, one day, I got, when I first started my business back in early 2000s, and we weren't getting, it took a long time for the department for the background check for the daycare, me and my wife.
Yes.
Over. Now she was running. I had to be on it and we had to go through 6 months of just really trying to figure it out. And the one day we got a letter said, if you don't do this and this and that, we're going to do this, this and that. And my wife was overwhelmed because she was working hard and I was trying to do everything. I went in my room and I just prayed, and the Holy Ghost Spirit said, give me one day.
Mm.
Get a call. The guy says, listen, don't worry about anything. We're going to work. We're going to help you. We're going to be with you. So that's how I have made it. It's through my faith that God's going to make a way.
Come on.
And the funny thing is people that have faith, period, whether you believe in God or not, God says, the word says he reigns on the just as well as the unjust.
Come on.
Those that don't believe, but if they have faith in something. A lot of people say the universe. Well, the universe has no power without you speaking.
That's right. That's right.
Not as though they are. When I speak, that causes things to happen. The universe ain't doing nothing but responding to what God
I
is
say.
the power to say. Because you have power. We have power in what we speak.
Mm. Come on. Come on. Whew.
Sometimes the enemy will try to make us speak things that God did not speak to us.
That's right.
So that's all I know. I know ministry. I know the kingdom. I'm not super religious, but I'm religious and holy enough to know that what I say has power.
Come on.
So that's what I do. Because what happens in his will, I pray in his will too, because what happens when people don't pray in their will and they manifest stuff. Now everybody's doing this manifestation. I just manifest and I believe.
Right.
But whatever you manifest, can you handle the things that come with that manifestation? Because that can bring some stuff you're not ready for.
You're not right.
It has to. I had to make a vow to God for where I'm at. I do things every month because I made a vow. So who are you bound to? What do you have to give up? What are you sacrificing?
Yep.
People don't want to sacrifice.
Because I think that we're living in a time right now where manifestation, people have equated manifestation to like making wishes and thinking that God is going to grant the wish. Like there's no preparation. It's, I'm going to say I want this, God's going to make it happen, and it's going to be what it's going to be. When the reality is you have to prepare for the things. A lot of time people go, oh, well, if one door doesn't open, I'm going to go to the next. But in reality, sometimes God isn't opening that door because you're not prepared for what's on the other side.
Right. That's good right there. I got something from Les Brown years ago. He said, it's better to be prepared. I heard when I was 18 years old. He said, it's better to be prepared for an opportunity than have an opportunity and not be prepared. And I live by that, being prepared for opportunities when they come. Don't just say, I want this, and you're not prepared for it. Because the truth of the matter is it's time consuming. It's a lot of work. People want to be actors and actresses, but it's a lot of work. It's a knowing. If you want to do that, go get some classes, learn the art, the craft of how to position yourself in the camera, how to keep remembering your lines when you cut, and you have to redo that, and you have to make sure your hands is the right. It's a lot of work. It's
That
not
is so true.
it's slow and it's not fast. It's
Yeah.
everybody thinks it's fast and quick and exciting. No, that's editing. Me and Lenny said, Lenny, my camera guy, he said, man, it's funny. You do all the work, you shooting long hours and long days, and it comes down to one man in one room cutting the final piece.
That's
And if you
it.
do the right cuts, it messes the whole movie up.
That is so true. You know, being in this business for as long as you have, and it's, I always say, you're in my mind, I keep thinking you're like a veteran. You've been in this thing for so long. What can you say you learned the most about you in this process?
Man, you know what, Jeff? I think if anything, I saw this process. Now, this might sound strange, but I saw the process, especially when I did my first movie. It renewed my faith in God.
Mm.
And the reason why I say that, because you can do church, and you asking and you praying about stuff and it didn't come to pass like you wanted it to. So you start questioning, well, Lord, is this blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And when he gives you something to do, and then he takes all your props away from you,
Right.
and you're sitting there saying, what am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
And he gives you things every day, every week.
Yeah.
And you're seeing him work, and there's no way you can do this. Because church, I'm a third generational pastor. So you know, you
Right.
wake up, what you gotta do.
That's it, right?
You're in a world that you don't know, and you're depending on people to direct you, and they doing those shady stuff that you don't know.
Right. Right.
Either you're gonna depend on the weapon,
Come on.
your weapon of praise and worship.
Mm.
So it really renewed my faith. I think I found out about what I did with this, doing movies and films, really showed me the hand of God in a way that I never saw. I'm gotta.
Amen. Amen. And speaking about working, I know you're on tour right now with the film. Where are you going? Is it like throughout the 50 states? How can we be a part? How we can support?
You know what? Basically, what's been happening, different pastor friends and friends of some of the actors have opened up doors and say, because my other movies, I would not dare take it to churches.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of what I'm hearing is kind of healing men and legacy and families.
Mm-hmm.
So now what happened, I had 41 theaters that wanted the film.
Right.
AMC Theater, Regal, and the booking guy and us, we had just some different things that didn't transpire. So it changed. So I said, well, what am I going to do now? That's what I'm saying. You have to hear, because that hurt.
Right.
I had to readjust.
Mm.
So what I'm telling you is what I had to do. I had to readjust. And I was talking to my buddy who's in the movie. He said, because he's a pastor, he said, won't you bring it to my church?
Mm.
And then another gal that's another apostle that's on my network. She said, bring it to my church. And then one of the other actors said, hey man, there's other people wanting. So they opened up their doors, their screens for us to come and screen it. Of course, they help with a love gift or a ticket sale. It depends on what the church do. And we've been on tour all May. This is our second month. And
nice.
We're in Fort Lauderdale. We're showing it tomorrow here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Next week, we're in New Jersey, Ryan, New Jersey, I think it is. Next week, Dr. Lawrence Powell's church, Agape Love. And then we come back to Florida in Chansey, Florida. I think it's called Chansey. And then after that, we go to Sacramento. We're showing in Sacramento. Then we're showing it in Compton, California. Apostle Ron Hill's church,
mm-hmm.
mine, where I shot my first movie.
Nice.
And we're coming back to Florida, to Jacksonville, Florida, with Bishop Stan Williams, with him, and so I know I'm missing some areas, but that's what I remember now. So
yeah,
but yeah, we're all over, back and forth to the country. And so if people want it and they want the church and they say, hey, we want it here. You know, we were in Farmsville, North Carolina. We was in South Carolina. We was at Whiteville, Carolina, Texas, Austin, Dallas, Arlington, Dallas. So of course, what's the city? Arizona, where I live. We're going to Reno as well. Las Vegas, Las Vegas. And so we've just been going where doors are open and also where we feel the movie would do good.
I love that. I really do love that. I want to kind of end this on foundation. And for me, I know like my foundation is always steep in ministry and sharing the gospel. That is it, right? I feel like my call in doing my show and all of the things that encompass it is that I don't have the right to give up, that God saw fit to give me this gift because there are people behind me that need to know that it's okay to live their truth, to live their dreams, to be called into their purpose and not be afraid. So for you, I want to ask you what your foundation is when you think of all of your business endeavors. What is your foundation? And for people who are stepping into this place of entrepreneurship, what do you recommend, or what do you feel their foundation should be made of?
Well, one thing, prayer. I mean, of course, I pray. That's where business came from. I was in prayer, and I felt in my spirit, learn business, learn to study business. The next thing I think I did, I picked up books. Jeffrey Fox had a book, an easy read that really changed my mindset. It was called How to Become a CEO. Any book he writes, he talks about rainmaking, he talks about management, he talks about anything. He was a major CEO. And that book really gave me principles of leadership, really.
Right.
Then I read books on Harvard, from Harvard University, that talked about different levels. Then, of course, of course, anything Jack Canfield, Victor Hanson, The Power of Focus, the book Psycho-Cybernetics, things like that, things that help focus and demonstrate your mind and be in your focus, because you need focus, because it's going to be not easy. Entrepreneur, if you need a paycheck every week and you can't survive without lean days, don't do this. Because this is based on resting in the lean days, regrouping in the lean days, reestablishing lean days, finding out how you can reconnect your idea or your business with the right group that you have. And then again, it's still prayer. I go back to prayer. My foundations, fasting, praying, and his word. Those are my foundations.
Right. Nice. Well, Dr. Wynn, I'm full. Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. You could have been anywhere doing anything, but you're here with me, and I appreciate you. For me, I hope that this isn't the last time we get to speak, because you definitely made my evening. I needed to hear this, and I'm always intentional about who I bring on my show. So thank you for your yes, for being here and being a part, even through the technical difficulties. I appreciate you, and you're now part of the Courtney's Corner family, so I really do hope that you come back.
Yes, and then we want people, like I said, download to subscribe to Wynn Network, because it's $5.99 and it's helping us really do good things. So we're in a transitional phase right now with the network, but we're working on even doing some new things, and we have a lot of new content coming out.
Nice.
We have a reality show about a funeral, a mortuary.
Wow.
You don't want to miss that. That's going to be really good. And then also some other reality shows that we have that we're excited about. Stay tuned for September.
Yes. Please. And everybody who's tuning in right now or who will catch the replay, if you want John Wynn's 1 hour in your town, in your city, in your state, please make sure you reach out. I will have all of the information in the caption of this. Thank you, Dr. Wynn, for being here. Thank you, your entire team, for allowing this to happen. This is another episode of One on One with Courtney Starks. Stay tuned, because we have 2 more tomorrow. I love you for watching. I really, really do. Have a good night, and I'll talk to you next time.
Thank you.